Because if we were taxed for what we need to balance the budget, obviously the economy would even be in a lot worse shape, but it would have stopped a little bit sooner. But this is a way you can delay the payment. You run up the bills, you write treasury bills, the Fed monetizes this, the pain and suffering goes to some unknown person. They say that poor people don't pay income taxes. But believe me, they pay a lot of penalty. They pay for the higher prices and they lose their jobs first, and eventually it moves up the ladder and the inflation ends up wiping out the middle class. For a long time, the process is designed to transfer wealth from the middle class to the rich. And they're still working at it. Just look at all these bailouts. Is the money coming to your pocket? Are they sending it to you? Have they accepted our solution to some of this? Yes. What we could have done if we needed to get some money into your pockets, we just would have gotten rid of the income tax. And that would have helped.
Yeah.
But instead, we do the bailouts, we further transfer the wealth, but that will eventually come to an end. It has to, it can't last. But the goal, of course, is to build big government for different reasons and hope they can keep it together. And that they have done for a while, but we live in historic times. This bubble was not just huge, it was the largest, in my estimation, the largest in the history of the world. It has been pervasive. The dollar, because we issued the dollar and it was the reserve currency, these other countries took it and they put it in their funds and used it as reserves, so that was even a relief from us because we didn't have to deal with as much price inflation here. But what's going to happen when they lose confidence in the dollar? And they're starting to get nervous. The Chinese are getting nervous with this. They're talking about the new currency. We live in big time, big, very, very important times. And that is why we must pay attention. And that is why our campaign that we're in the middle of right now has to win, because our country is threatened if we don't understand what liberty really means and how it's connected to the financial system and how it's connected to the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
But on the other side, there's a lot of spending in Washington to pursue our adventures overseas. Just think of the wonderful opportunity that we had in 1989. It probably was even a bigger opportunity than what came after World War II. The Depression came, World War II was there. Some people say that Roosevelt ended the Depression. That is not true. Some people said the war ended the Depression. Can you imagine the depressed times being ended by sending 1 million or 2 million people over to be exposed to gunfire and getting killed and have rationing? That didn't end it.
Right.
But the household debt was finally eliminated after World War II. But our government did something else after World War II. They cut spending by 2/3 and they cut taxes by 1/3. And then there were consumer demands, and then the Depression finally ended. So that is what was available to us in 1989 when the Cold War ended, when the Soviet system collapsed. Not because we had a lot of nuclear weapons, not because we attacked them and they hadn't lost a military battle. What did they do? They did exactly what Mises predicted they would do. They would fail for economic reasons, because it was a flawed system. Then, of course, they overextended themselves overseas, and guess what? They went and overextended themselves in a place called Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And, of course, that ended their empire. 15 of their satellite countries were broken up. What an opportunity we have, and still do. We have so many weapons. We probably could defend ourselves for the next 100 years with 6 submarines. You know, we have so much nuclear power. If anybody touched us, we are a very powerful nation. The thing that threatens us is internally in our financial system and our moral fiber. That's what